Good evening. Thanks for joining us for our last NGP artifact of the month for the year 2022. This is going to be the last time that you're going to see this setup. We're moving to a new location. We're going to have a studio in our armory. It's well, we call it an armory. It's pretty much like a bunkhouse, but it's a property that we have. It has bunks. We can go there for drills, things like that. So we're going to be doing everything out there from now on. You'll see some different people participating, and we'll have some different artifacts. And it's gonna get a lot better next year. So thanks for sticking with us through the remainder of this year. So yeah, this is it for this format. On to the new year, new me stuff. So we're gonna start our story here in Mount Gretna, Pennsylvania. So how do we get to Christmas in 1898 from Mount Gretna? So the Spanish American War kicked off in April of 1898. The 8th Pennsylvania went up to Mount Gretna to muster in with the rest of the National Guard of Pennsylvania. So this image right here is the 8th Pennsylvania, or the 8th National Guard of Pennsylvania, or 8th PA U.S. Volunteers. So they arrived on the 28th of April, mustered in on the 11th and 12th of May, and they got orders to go to Camp Thomas in Georgia, which were changed en route, and they ended up in Camp Alger down in Northern Virginia. So they were there until 18 May. Oh, sorry, they arrived in 18 May. While they were there, there's a ceasefire. The war ends. So they're sitting in this camp, wondering, what's going on. The war's over, and why are we still here? What's going on with our situation here? We mustered in. We've been training. We've been doing all this stuff. Here we are in Northern Virginia. So end of August finds them at Camp Meade. It's up in Pennsylvania, in Middletown, Pennsylvania, which is close to home for some of the guys, especially Company D, the City Greys of Harrisburg. And from there, they ended up going down to Philly at the end of October for the Peace Jubilee Parade. So we're back home in Pennsylvania. We're doing the Peace Jubilee. So the war's over. This is our victory parade. Everything's going great. 13 November, they leave for a place called Camp McKenzie, which is down in Augusta, Georgia. So totally wrong direction. And you're probably wondering, just the same as they were, why are they going further away while the war's still going on? Where the war is over, why are they going further away? Well, it was just a ceasefire. There wasn't a like an armistice of sorts. It wasn't actually hashed out. There wasn't a treaty signed or any of that stuff yet. So we still need to maintain troops. We need to keep them in a readiness posture, and we need to have them, deployable. So down in Georgia, you're a little closer to some of the areas, and it's a little warmer down there as well. So that's how they ended up in Georgia. While they're down there, 10 December, the Treaty of Paris is signed. So now the war is over, and they are not going home yet, though. So let's take a look and see what's going on. Here's a picture of the 8th out at Camp Meade out in Middletown. This is actually a wartime photo of them. This is a representation of the Peace Jubilee Parade. It's an image of the Peace Jubilee, but it's not one of the 8th. And here they are down in here's the newspaper article about them getting ready for Christmas. So it says, to begin with, the boys have everything at hand to make Christmas decorations galore. The nearby wood has been stripped of its best holly, while the much sought for mistletoe has been brought into camp by the wagon load. Spruce trees have been cut down and lugged into camp so that every company street is almost hidden beneath a profusion of Christmas greens. Officers have the trees lined up in front of their tents. Soldiers have them everywhere. When the regiments first encamped here, with one or two exceptions, there were no trees within the limits of the camp. Now it is like a spruce forest. Long streams of holly are hung in pretty festoons from tent to tent, while mistletoe is in abundance. So that's the newspaper article, and this is what their camp looked like in 1898. So this is the entrance to Company K's Company Street, and Company K was one of the Schuylkill County companies. They were one of the ones that were raised for the war. They weren't already on the books. But take a look at the top of this arch. You have the United States Eagle. You have a keystone there. You have a company, you have a K to the left of the image for Company K. You have the 8 for the 8th Regiment, and this is all stuff that they erected here. Yeah, Merry Christmas hanging in the middle. Pay attention to this cross here in the middle of the arch. You'll see that later. And the group of men to the left, look to look in that fence, between that fence, you can see something there. We'll see that later, but this is what just one of the company streets look like. Imagine this on every company street. Yeah, so they're down there, they're kind of bored, they're away from home, for Christmas, New Year's possibly as well. And they already spent Thanksgiving down there too, so they're trying to make it a little bit more like home. So this would be the entrance to Company K. This is the Company K street. So we were talking about to the left of the men here in the fence. This is what you see here, and they have Company K, 8th PVI, Pennsylvania Volunteer Infantry. Here in the break in the fence, they have Uncle Sam, and it's hard to tell what's going on in this image. If it's a United States soldier and a Spanish soldier, perhaps. We also read with when they were up at Camp Algier, a lot of the northern regiments were adopting some of the southern regiments too. The 8th Pennsylvania, I believe they linked up with a Tennessee unit, so maybe that could be a soldier in gray, for that. Going back to the entrance again, we have the cross here, right here in the middle of the arch, and here it is again, right in the middle of the company street, and it says "Peace on Earth." You can see the rows of tents. Yeah, they have their blankets up, and you have the garland and stuff in front of it. So just a quick shot of Christmas in 1898 and how these guys, try to make it a little bit more like home. And this was later in that year. This is still in Camp McKenzie, Georgia. They're shoveling snow in their company streets, so which is probably something that a lot of us are looking at. The weather yesterday and today, probably more ice than snow, but here these guys are in Georgia, shoveling out their company street. And that's it for this evening. It was told you it was going to be quick, and this is getting ready for our next broadcast, January 26, 2023. We'll have the NGP Artifact of the Month again, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as usual, and we're going to cover the weapons of the NGP, the early years. So, like I said earlier, we're going to have a different location. We're going to be over at the Armory. You'll see some new faces. You'll see some different stuff. It'll be a little bit more in depth and a little bit more polished since we'll have time to record it and edit it and things like that. So, won't be the quick Facebook Live. So thanks for joining us. Have a happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and a happy New Year, and we'll see you in 2023. Thanks again.